Why do HIIT trainers make twice as much as regular trainers? I think this is going to be valuable to those who don't currently use a HIIT methodology and are maybe intrigued by this business model. Can also be really affirming to those in our space who maybe have forgotten certain aspects that are really important to the service and to kind of justifying the price that we charge for the 30-minute session. Is it true that HIIT trainers earn twice as much as regular trainers?
It's absolutely true. Literally, we earn twice as much, even more. It's simple math that I'm going to break down later in the broadcast. You don't have to necessarily change your clothes to do these workouts. As a matter of fact, I made literally millions of dollars saying you won't sweat or change your clothes. 15 minutes, you won't sweat or change your clothes. It was provocative. It caused arguments. That's how I made a lot of money.
Welcome to another episode brought to you by Imagine Strength, the future of safe, simple, and effective high-intensity training equipment. Are you a HIIT studio owner looking for equipment that's not just top-notch, but also tailored to your specific needs? Imagine Strength is your answer. Inspired by the legendary Arthur Jones, Imagine Strength is revolutionizing the HIIT industry with their state-of-the-art yet affordable equipment. Their team doesn't just sell HIIT equipment, they live and breathe it. I've personally experienced their gear at the Resistance Exercise Conference, and let me tell you, it was an intense workout that I won't soon forget, in the best way possible, of course. So why choose Imagine Strength? Number one, they provide customized solutions for HIIT studios. Number two, they have budget-friendly yet high-performance designs. And number three, they're committed to innovation and excellence in high-intensity training specifically. Founder Jeff Turner and his dedicated team are on a mission to make HIIT accessible to everyone. Getting started is easy. Number one, visit imaginestrength.com. Number two, consult with their expert team. And number three, choose the equipment that will skyrocket your business. Don't wait. Head over to imaginestrength.com and elevate your HIIT studio today with Imagine Strength. Lawrence Snell here, and welcome back to High Intensity Business, your one-stop shop for elevating your HIIT business and fueling your passion for high-intensity training. This is episode 456. I'm joined by your favorite, Pete Cerqua. Pete Cerqua is a master high-intensity fitness coach and creator of the 90-second fitness solution. He has been professionally coaching since 1985 and is also a 5-time best-selling author for Simon & Schuster and Skyhorse Publishing, which include the books High Intensity Fitness Revolution for Women and High Intensity Fitness Revolution for Men. His coaching programs show personal trainers and HIIT business owners how to earn, how to make 7 figures plus per year. You can find out more about those programs over at highintensitybusiness.com/coaching, and also be links in the description wherever you're watching this as well. So Pete, great to see you again. Thanks for making the time.
Good morning, Lawrence. Thank you for having me here.
Good morning. And so the topic we're going to focus on today, a very exciting one, is why do HIIT trainers make twice as much as regular trainers? So I'm excited to get into this. I think this is going to be valuable to those who don't currently use a HIIT methodology and are maybe intrigued by this business model. But as you were saying earlier, it can also be really affirming to those in our space who maybe have forgotten certain aspects that are really important to the service and to kind of justifying the price that we charge for the 30-minute session and that kind of thing. So let's kick off with, you've done some great preparation here. I'm excited to get into some of these notes here. So the first point you got here is it true, Pete, that HIIT trainers earn twice as much as regular trainers?
It's absolutely true. Literally, we earn twice as much, even more. It's simple math that I'm going to break down later in the broadcast, but there's other factors involved that make this happen.
Sounds good. Intrigued. I can't possibly think what you're going to say. So let's get into some of those other factors, shall we? What other factors are you referring to?
Well, we're comparing HIIT trainers from regular trainers, right? Regular trainer, what is a regular trainer? Regular trainer will either go to your house and give you a workout in your living room. Maybe you have a home gym, and you know how a home gym is going to be situated. It's going to be a mat on the floor. There might be a barbell and a bench press and stuff like maybe some dumbbells. Or a regular trainer is going to meet you at a gym. They're allowed to work out of a gym, which is, it's a difficult and frustrating process. So, because some gyms just don't allow it, or they give you a hard time. Anyway, that's their problem. So those are the basic regular trainer scenarios. A HIIT trainer is going to have more than likely a private studio to work out of. And studio versus gym, right away, that the privacy, and it's a studio is more upscale than a gym, and that already commands a bit of a higher price. Atmosphere is also very, very important for HIIT trainers. Atmospheres versus a noisy gym. And I think we should talk about that a little bit more too.
Yeah, absolutely. Just before you get into that, and this is obviously related, I wonder if there's sort of like a halfway house, so to speak, because I'm thinking about, listeners I've spoken to who are startups or currently in business, and a lot of those are going to be, they maybe want to use a HIIT approach, so a 30-minute model inside a commercial gym. And I understand there can be problems with that. It depends on the gym. It depends on the relationship you have with the owner, what they allow you to do, how they charge you. Is it a kind of a monthly fee to use their gym, or are they going to charge you per client? And that can vary wherever you go. I mean, you get some really great situations and some not so great situations that relates to that. Like if you get like a flat fee, for example, like a flat monthly fee you pay and it's really reasonable, then that can be a good start. But then you still have the problems of the distractions, the fact that you're using another facility that's not designed really for HIIT. It's not maybe as upscale, etc. So you've got some other challenges there potentially. The other thing, go ahead. Yeah.
Let me jump on that for a second. We
Yeah.
actually did that. So back in the day, Lou Lovato and I were working out of it was a public gym called Prescriptive Fitness, full gym. And I remember seeing Lou Lovato doing Mike Menser style workouts. So let's say he did on chest. Let's say he did an inclining dumbbell fly supersetted with a weighted dip. Dip bars and a belt and a plate or two hanging. And those two pieces of equipment were literally 20, 25 feet apart in a crowded gym, and he's trying to get a superset going. It made it difficult. What we did back then is our rates were competitive with regular trainers, even though our workouts were different. But that's the struggle. We weren't,
Right.
the people was special, but the atmosphere and everything else wasn't. So we weren't able to make twice as much or really raise our rates. We had to take it up a level.
I see. It's like hard to make yourself different when you have other trainers selling services such close proximity to you, right? Whereas a separate location is much easier to differentiate. And I guess the other halfway house I kind of want to just bring up, and we were speaking to someone yesterday who's in this situation, is a shared space. So maybe you're operating out of a studio and maybe you're sharing a room with an existing gym. So you've got maybe a private area, or maybe you're sharing like 1,000 square foot space with a couple other one-on-one trainers or something like that who do maybe other exercise modalities. So I just bring those up because I know there's a lot of people listening who are either in that situation or thinking about doing that because they're kind of scared of, getting a lease for their own space at this point. How do you feel about that? How do you think about that? Do you think it's sometimes good for some entrepreneurs to start with, that type of situation, and then when they got enough of a clientele and they make enough money or saved enough money, etc., then they can transition to getting a lease? Or do you think, for instance, I know I don't know the banking system that well in the States, and obviously most of our listeners are in the US, although they're global. It can be easier to get, support from funding from the banks to help with that process and that kind of thing. So maybe you can go to your own studio sooner. So I'd love to get your take on that before we move forward.
Well, your second halfway house option is a step up. So let's and you throw a few possibilities out there, but like 1,000 square feet, and you're sharing it with some other trainers. Even if the other trainers are not doing HIIT modalities, if they're doing slightly different workouts or completely different workouts, it's still a more private atmosphere. And that says something. It sends a message to the client that you care enough about what you do, that you're in a private atmosphere, you're not in a public gym that's $25, $50, $60 a month that anybody can go to when everybody's at, and you're trying to climb over pieces of equipment or navigate through that, which it doesn't matter. And this is great because we're going to be bringing up this point multiple times in this conversation. The HIIT workout itself, the protocols that you use are not going to separate you from a regular trainer in a regular training environment. Not much. It's you might get noticed a little bit. But for the most part, well, they're here and we're here kind of an attitude. The minute you go to a semi-private situation, you've elevated your game. So it does go up a little bit. So these are all steps. So do you want to be a HIIT trainer making regular trainer money? You want to be a HIIT trainer making a little bit better? You want to be booking more sessions? Do you want to have the ability to book more sessions? If you are a HIIT trainer in a regular gym, it's tough to do more than 8 sessions in a day.
Right.
Let alone to be 4 in a day that are possible in certain situations.
Why do you think that is?
Well, it's just the logistics. It's a public gym. People have to drive to it. They have to park. They have to come in and see you. Was there traffic? And that whole scenario is a 2-hour course, right? So it's a half hour to get there. I don't care if you're down the block or 5 miles away. It's a half-hour commitment just to get there, go in the locker room, get changed. Just the physical logistics, right? Changing your clothes, you come out, you're ready. Now you're probably 5 minutes late. Not a problem. It's a 15-minute workout. I've got an hour to get it done. But the HIIT trainer had to commit an hour to getting this done, right? To have that buffer zone built in.
I'm missing something there. Is it because obviously a lot of those listening might have a changing room. I know some will have just no changing room, just come in as you are, work out. Are you kind of suggesting that there's more traffic, generally speaking, to these large public gym facilities because they're usually in locations where there's likely to be more traffic, more people going to that sort of destination? Because I'm still I can't quite wrap my head around that, like why it takes longer, why you can't necessarily squeeze as many sessions in.
It's that simple. A public gym is going to have a lot of people on it. Now, it depends on the hour you go. If it's 5 a.m., there might be 3 people in the gym and you have the whole place to yourself with that client. But that, the prime time hours from 8 a.m. to 9:30.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. And I'm not thinking about the program design and like waiting for machines. That's the thing. Yes. Right. And just people being in your way and distractions. And yeah, I can see how. Yeah.
And how about that? How about the genius that's doing 10 sets on the hack squat machine and, it's leg day for your HIIT workout. You do a leg extension hack squat and this clown is over there playing on their phone, which is going to drive you absolutely insane, right? And and here you just got done telling your client, well, we're gonna do leg extension of failure, and then we're going right over to hack squat, and I'm going to be there for forced reps, and we have to do minimal rest, so it's really effective. And there's this guy like eating his lunch on your next machine, and he's just, it's going to be 20 minutes. So what do you do now? Do you change your story? Do you change the protocol? Listen, obviously we're not going to be able to do that. So now let's try Smith machine squats. It throws you off your game. It's just not fun.
Yeah. And just for those listening who are not currently HIIT trainers, who just maybe clicked on this because they're intrigued by the headline, Pete's going to come on to how you change the protocols to move to 30-minute sessions, which is something he's going to come on to in a minute, which makes this business model far more profitable. So yeah, back to you, Pete. Where we were talking about factors still, aren't we? That help HIIT trainers earn more.
Next up would be we want to talk about atmosphere, and we were kind of touching on that in a regular public facility. But let's say we're into a private or a semi-private studio. And a lot of HIIT trainers go out of their way to open up a private studio. Now, private studio, the first thing you're thinking of is mega bucks. Like I don't have 50, 60, 70, 80, $100,000 to invest for my own private studio. Well, I know trainers that have done it for very, very little money, like a credit card. And there's a good friend of ours, Mark, who opened up a HIIT studio in his garage. He redid it himself. It looks beautiful. He put some air conditioning in there because he lives in a warm environment and he want to keep the studio cool. He bought Nautilus equipment, not Nautilus One. It was Nautilus Nitro.
Nitro.
And he made it look he did not spend all, he got great deals. He did a lot of shopping. So for a very reasonable amount of money, he's got a private studio. And by the way, his business took off, and the amount of money that he spent, he's made back 10 times. Literally. I'm not exaggerating. That's not an exaggeration. He's made 10 times that. So it's not a huge investment. Now, atmosphere. Let's talk about atmosphere for a second. A private studio is going to be intimate, private, upscale. You're going to try to design and build your private studio to look a little bit more like a doctor's office or a chiropractor's office than a gym. Okay. That's important. When your client walks in, okay, I hired a trainer and you do this high intensity stuff. They're not processing any of that. They saw you, they saw a picture of you, and maybe you were demonstrating an exercise, and that's what attracted them to start a dialogue and come on in for a free session or a consultation, right? Now they walk in the door. Before they walk in the door, they're picturing some sort of gym, private gym, but gym, right? That word is plastered to their forehead. They walk in and it looks a little different, and it gets their attention right away. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, what do we got here? This doesn't look like the regular gym. I went for physical therapy for my shoulder a year ago, and this kind of looks more like that. And they'll start questioning. And when they question, this just elevates your whole game. Hey, this is a little different. What do you do here? Well, we do something called high intensity training. The workouts are very, very different. I need this equipment and this environment to get it done properly. Because if we try to do this in a public gym, it just doesn't work. So I went out of my way to do this for you. And that's something that's something worth writing down. It's about them. It's not about you. That's the number one thing I teach in my coaching. If you remember that and you operate off of that, you will make more money. So atmosphere, hit trainers and hit studios, private studios, or even semi-private studios are usually temperature controlled. The favorite temperature, or the most average temperature that we go by, is about 65 degrees Fahrenheit. What's that in Celsius for you guys?
Oh, you're making me do that on the spot. It's all right.
Well, what's your typical hit temperature?
18 degrees centigrade.
18 Celsius.
Or Celsius. Okay. Yeah.
So 18 or 65 is a typical number. I've seen studios a tiny bit warmer, upwards of 68, but you could break a sweat at 68 degrees. And I've seen them colder. I've seen them in the 50s Fahrenheit. So, but 65 degrees is cool, and especially if you're walking in to this type of studio on a hot summer day. It's 90 degrees outside, and you walk into a 65 or a 68 degree studio. It's, I would have the clients all say the same thing in July. Oh my God, it's freezing in here. And without even thinking or acknowledging, you'll warm up in a minute. I'll be there. I'll be right there. Right after the first exercise, you'll be fine.
Yep.
And it always plays out that way. But atmosphere, we're back to atmosphere, which is important. A 65 degree studio that looks a little bit more like your physical therapist, doctor / chiropractor office than a gym. You don't have to necessarily change your clothes to do these workouts. As a matter of fact, I made literally millions of dollars saying you won't sweat or change your clothes. That was my tagline. 15 minutes, you won't sweat or change your clothes. It was provocative. It caused arguments. That's how I made a lot of money. You don't want somebody to, just get it right away and understand it and then dismiss it, right? Because people won't act on information that they process too quickly. If they don't process it and it irritates them or it begs a question, that's when you're more likely to get a client. Okay.
Yeah. Just before you move on. Oh, sorry. You're going to go on to classical music. Are you going to go on to that?
Yes.
Yeah. Just before that, I think it's such a good point because I had a workout today in a local gym, and it's a local commercial gym. loads of people in it. And I was on the leg press and it was like towards the end of my workout and I was getting really hot and I was starting to sweat. And I was like, man, this really it makes me feel uncomfortable, really hurts my performance. Doesn't help that the leg press makes it very difficult. I stacked this thing and I couldn't get to failure within like 16, 17 reps. And I ended up just doing an isometric hold because I was like, I can't deal with this anymore. It's too uncomfortable. Um, but, yeah, it just reminded me in that moment, I thought, this is why, so our other Studio Optima strength, it's not temperature controlled, but it's also not heated. So so there is potentially a plan there to put some kind of HVAC in at some point to control the temperature better. But it stays pretty cool all year round for the most part, bar maybe the hottest part of summer, which is very brief in Galway. But it makes for a great training environment because, like you say, you get warm after a couple of exercises. So if you're listening to this and you've never operated out of one of these controlled temperature locations, you're in for a real surprise because your workouts are so much better and so much more focused. You feel so much more comfortable. Your clients, as you said, their whole workout experience way more efficient because they don't have to get changed necessarily, etc. Don't have to shower. I mean, I always remember talking to Luke and how he would say that the DS trainers, they'd always say they never shower after their workouts. They just get straight back into their shirts and ties and start delivering workouts again because you haven't perspired, you're not smelly, you're fine, And I love that about what we do. I love the fact that I can have my workout and then just get straight. I'll have a shower before I work out sometimes. It depends on the day. And I can get straight back into work. And I think so many people are unaware of this training approach or this business or whatever. You almost have to block out like 2 hours in their day to get their gym work in because they're going to have to factor in a shower, etc.
It's a big commitment. 2 hours is a big commitment. And it's easy to start making excuses. Oh, I got a meeting. I got a work meeting. I got to bring my kid. You come up with excuses to cancel it because it's just too much of a commitment. But if it's 15 minutes, you don't have to sweat or change your clothes. You're out of excuses. Shut up and get in here. I mean, and that's the way I went about it. You touched on something that reminded me about the public gyms, the big gyms. There's usually twice a year when there's a weather change, like spring going into summer or a fall going into winter, where these big gyms try to save a little money and they don't turn their air conditioning or their heating on or, so they don't temperature control it. There's like a 6-week period where they could turn it off and save a few pennies because you need 1,000 people at $25, right? To break even or make some money. So if you could save $5 here and there, it means something to you, which means there's certain times a year you walk in there and maybe you're wearing your hoodie like you are now, and you do one set and it's like 72 to 74 degrees in that gym and you're drenched. Now you have to go back to your situation. You have to shower. You have to change. You have to commit now more time to getting your 15-minute workout done, right?
Yeah.
That's not efficient. That'll irritate you. You can't give people excuses to quit. You have to eliminate all excuses. And guess what? Our HIT programs and studios remove every single excuse you could possibly have. So you're out of excuses. Now you're mine. I have a client. Right? I know. It's not. Shut up.
I love it, Pete. You're always entertaining. So we're on to music now, aren't we?
Some HIT studios like mine have a little classical music playing in the background. I like to have something that adds a tiny distraction, but that you can't pinpoint. So I chose classical music. A friend of mine introduced me to it when I opened up my second HIT studio. I started playing. I didn't like the dead quiet that I saw some HIT studios doing. It was just a little too much for me. It felt a little awkward for the clients, and I said, "Well, I'd like something playing in the background, but I don't want it to be muzak like you would hear in an elevator. That's cheap sounding, in my opinion. I don't want something popular that you're going to be bobbing your head and singing along to, right? And a friend of mine said, well, I think classical music is your answer. I said, really? And he went, and a friend of mine named Alvin, he went and put a whole list together. He said, there's certain pieces that you want and certain pieces that you don't want. I said, for instance, he goes, you don't want Chariots of Fire, because somebody will identify with the movie and that they may, it's almost like a Rocky kind of a theme. You don't want a Beethoven piece that really has a big, dun, 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 right? You want something in the middle. And he picked.
You don't want like a Claire de Lune where it's like melancholy almost, like it's like.
There is the other side of that. You don't want something that's going to make you cry, right? You don't want something that's depressing. Where in the opera, one person just committed suicide, right? So he put together this list, and it was 12 to 15 hours of music, which when you put it on a loop, the client will never hear the same piece twice. It really rotates through well. And it served me. I played that for, I don't know, probably 14, 15 years. Before I tried a few other things, but it was low volume. It was in the background. Here's the thing about classical music. It's almost like politics in a way, right? So you can have your political parties and everybody will have an affiliation and an association, right? Or you can have a non-political party, like, an independent, which nobody really has an opinion on either way, right? There's classical music. Nobody will go out and buy an album. Like 1% of your clients will go out and actually listen to classical music or have it at home, but nobody has an opinion on it either way. It's not like, oh, I love this song, and it's, oh, I hate this stuff, right? It's right in the middle. Like, it's intelligent. It's right. It's a very kind of high end thing, and people will listen to it. It doesn't bother them. So it worked. It actually worked. Other studios go dead silent. And then that's their atmosphere.
It's fascinating because, obviously the quote unquote sort of ideal exercise environment, which isn't necessarily evidence based, advocated for no music, and I really don't like no music. I have, like you, been in studios without music. We were in Minneapolis in March last year, and we got to visit some of the DS locations. They have more like contemporary music, but it's a mix that is designed to, again, kind of like probably tick some of those boxes you mentioned, but also cycle through so that there's music that everyone's going to like. I think might be getting that slightly incorrect, but it's something like that. And it did make a real difference to the atmosphere. And I totally relate to what you're saying there in terms of it can feel kind of a little awkward sometimes if you don't have that. And I love the idea of classical music. Like you said, it's got that kind of like snobby feel to it that's sort of congruent with with a high-end studio. So no, it's great, Pete. Thanks for
pair that up with your accent. You got like a perfect situation,
Yeah, if only I was more articulate.
And something, it's really something. Now, I'll give you an example of something that failed miserably. It was around the year 2000, 2001. I tried in a private studio setting that was really, really nice. I tried putting a CD player that had a 50 CD option. And I loaded it up with, I actually asked a bunch of clients, like, well, what kind of music do you listen to? And I made a list, and I interviewed and asked, 20, 30, 40, 50 people, right? And even just friends in general. Now, I asked people who were likely clients. So they were going to be 40 to 60-year-old people. I wasn't asking 20-year-olds because they're not my clients, right? So I got this list. I went out and I got all the CDs. I loaded them up in this 50 machine, and 50 CD player machine, and it had a random or shuffle button.
Right.
So you can go from Dire Straits to Bruce Springsteen to, right, one song a piece, and it did smoothly. I was like, okay, this is great. So I come in the morning, I turn this on, I hit this button, we're done for the day. I don't have to think about it anymore. I started getting clients walking in, and they would hear Bruce Springsteen, but they wanted to hear Dire Straits. And the client would walk.
You started taking requests.
They'd go back there, they'd be looking for the CD and try to hit it, right? And I'm like, all right. Hey, Pete, can you put on, the other day, this album was on. Can you go find that. I'm like, well, it's in 50 CDs and there's no catalog. You're like, no, I can't. You don't want to be saying no to your client. You don't want it like it was disastrous. And that's when the classical music came up and saved me because that scenario was going to lose clients eventually, right? It was going to be a struggle to keep them. So classical music was for the win. Do I listen to classical music on a regular basis? No, I don't. But I appreciate it. And if it's in the background somewhere, this is nice. But I don't go out and buy it and download it and put it in my earbuds, right? So it's amazing. I ask everybody to consider it.
Sounds great. Great tip.
Last about atmosphere is equipment. Equipment's a big subject. So a hit studio is usually outfitted with specific equipment that go along with your workout protocols because we have unique workout protocols and you want equipment that's going to be a little bit different from your regular gym equipment. So this is really rounding out the whole atmosphere part of the studio. Equipment, temperature control, music or no music, intimate, private, and upscale. So atmosphere is very, very important. I think we should talk about equipment and I'm going to need your help on some of this.
So the last part you were saying there in terms of what is important for an effective sort of studio atmosphere is equipment, which obviously really enhances the workout and the look of the studio, etc. But obviously that's a big conversation, big category to talk about. So let's talk about equipment. So you got a short list here you've sent over of certain pieces you looked at and or you used in the past or that you recommend now. Do you want to just start going through that and I guess start with perhaps your own experience in your business, what you use, and we can go from there?
Absolutely. So equipment is going to be one more thing that differentiates us hit trainers from regular trainers. It's going to have a unique look in the studio, in your private studio. It's going to elevate your game. And I'm going to need your help with some of this. I made a short list, but I want to talk. There's one category I would like your help on. So hit equipment commonly used in a hit studio. Here's the short list: Nautilus, Medex, Imagine Strength, which is a new equipment company, ARX, ARX, and a few other companies that make similar machines. And Lawrence, this is where I'm going to need your help on that. Another company is called X-Force, and then one that everybody's heard of is Hammer Strength. And these are all commonly used equipment companies that hit trainers will use. Well, Lawrence, the first question to you is, did I leave anybody out that you can think of right off the top of your head?
Not really. I think those are the main brands, probably. You mentioned Hammer Strength, didn't you, on your list?
Yes.
Obviously, there are other brands, and I am not by any means a machine aficionado. You'd want like a Mike Petrella on here right now. But you've got Pendulum. Pendulum 2 is another popular plate-loaded, similar to sort of Hammer Strength. You've got what's also quite popular right now is Prime and Stripe. I don't know if they're the same brand.
They're not the same brand. I know both. I've looked at both of those brands, never saw them in person. But one of the ones that I wanted to ask you about was the ARX machine, ARX. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you told me that there's 2 or 3 other companies that make a similar product. Could you tell everybody what we're talking about?
So I couldn't really comment on that just because I don't really know. There have been companies that have designed, I might be just blanking, but there are companies that have designed motor-driven pieces that are similar to ARX, which didn't really take off. So there was a lot of noise and promotion, but then things fell through. There's been a few failed companies that have a very similar technology. Obviously, we're, full disclosure, we're affiliated with Imagine Strength. Yes. They're a sponsor on this podcast. And one of the reasons for that is because I think a lot of us obviously default to buying secondary market equipment. And that's okay, so long as obviously it looks great and lasts. And obviously Medex and Nautilus tend to sort of tick those boxes. But what I like about, investing in Imagine Strength is it is pretty competitive pricing for what you get. And it's brand new. So I think that's very congruent with a high-end facility, right? So that's obviously one of the reasons why we partner with them. But obviously there are a few options people can choose from. So
the most important point that I'd like to make about Imagine Strength is the owner and developer, one of the developers, Jeff Turner, made this equipment for the trainer. This is not for the client. This is equipment that's made to give the trainer more options for their hit workouts. 100%. No other equipment company has specifically done that. Really, really interesting stuff. That's like a whole show you and I could talk about. If I was going to open up a studio again, what pieces would I use? I think the answer would interest you. Getting back to our atmosphere and our equipment, I think this list is pretty good.
Just one more point. What I'll do is for those who are tuning into this, who want to learn more about Imagine Strength, we'll link to some of the content we've done on YouTube where Jeff Turner, the founder, takes you on a tour through the whole machine line, right? So you can see those pieces and you can see exactly what you're talking about. But I do want to say, like, I don't want to be complete. Obviously, I am biased. But all of these are options that, our audience can think about investing in, which all make for great hit businesses. There's pros and cons to each, right? Like, plate loaded equipment is going to kill your arms and your hands changing plates all day long. So you got to be mindful of, like, do you want a whole line of those versus having one or two, right? And a lot of our colleagues will mix and match, right? So they'll have preference for certain machines. So for instance, the MedX chest press is very, very popular, and the MedX leg press. But then, they might buy Nautilus, I'm just making stuff up now, like Nautilus lateral raise, because they prefer that for shoulder exercises, so that you can
Nautilus
mix and match,
pullover.
Right? Oh, sorry, Nautilus pullover is a better example. Yeah. And so again, like, I do think I am sort of more, I have a preference for, like, uniformity, and, like, you should probably paint them the same color and make them uniform and consistent. So yeah, just want to make that point, but yeah, back to you, Pete.
You're absolutely right. There is a mixing and matching, but the central point here is that this equipment is going to be a little bit different than what you're going to find in a conventional gym. A HIIT studio may also work in a few pieces of a conventional equipment. There may be a bench, there may be a Smith machine or a pair of dumbbells. There could be something that you can identify with and say, "Oh, I saw that piece in the local gym."
Yeah, and just one more thing I want to say is I also just want to make it clear that, like, I wouldn't call myself a machine expert, and there might be brands that we're missing. Cybex is another one that comes to mind. Some of the old Cybex machines that are perfectly fine to operate and can still deliver excellent HIIT workouts. And some of this is just, if you obviously want to keep things simple and you just want to go and, like, order through Imagine or whatever, that's great. But there's also obviously a whole, sort of a whole group of our colleagues who love spending time researching these really niche pieces from all these wacky, weird brands. So there's so many other brands where maybe the 90% of their line is garbage, right? But they made this one piece that's, like, really good. So yeah, I want to keep an open mind about this stuff.
Yeah. Also, there's HIIT veterans out there that are watching this and that I've spoken with that have been in the business for 20 years plus that have not tried some of these other equipment companies. They may, maybe they started their studio with a certain brand or a certain lineup that they chose that worked for their workouts back then. And they just, you just don't have the time to go out and research every other piece. I personally have never been on an X-Force piece. I've never been on an ARX machine. I've read about them. I've watched videos about them. I've talked to owners of them, but I've never been on one. So it's good to bring this subject up for veteran HIIT trainers and people who are interested in getting involved in these type of studios and making more money, because there's a lot of possibilities out there. So,
and you also, I don't know if you talked about this, but talked about this yet, but you also talk about the free weights and other bits and pieces that can really help complement a studio. I'm a big fan of the power block dumbbells, which scale from, like, whatever it is, 2 kilograms. I don't know what that is in pounds now. 4 pounds, I guess, 4 point, whatever, up to 45 kilos, or what's that, 90, 100 pounds per hand, right? So they're really scalable, and they take up a lot less room than, like, a whole rack of dumbbells. And I'm not sure how the pricing compares. I know Power Blocks, the brand, can be quite expensive, but sometimes I wonder if that's actually comparable to buying the single increments and having an enormous tray of dumbbells, right? It's probably not a huge difference. I could be incorrect about that, but you probably will spend at least $1,000, at least $1,000 to get, like, the full scalability, the full, all the increments for those power block dumbbells, as an example?
Well, dumbbells go, the going price right now is $2 a pound.
I
So, and
see.
those are good quality dumbbells. So if you have 1,000 pounds of dumbbells total and the rack, you're going to spend $2,000 for them minimum, plus shipping and delivery. And then on top of that, that amount of dumbbells in a double tiered rack is going to take 20 to 30 feet of wall space or gym space. It's an incredible amount of space. The power blocks are the adjustable dumbbells that you're talking about. And there's a few companies that make pretty much identical ones now. They take up literally 2 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet. It's just incredible. And you
come
can
with
have
a lovely stand. Yeah.
Yeah, a very tasteful looking stand, professional looking stand. And you can have, I have a set in my private gym. It starts at 10 pounds and it works all the way up to 50 pounds in 5-pound increments. And it takes up this much space. So I've got 10s to 50s. I don't feel the need to have 90s and 100s. I don't want to pick them up and use them. My clients don't want them, but I thought it would be great to have up to 50 pounds a piece, which is suited. But yeah, another great point. Ultimately, what you're looking at is when you walk into a HIIT studio, it looks different in many ways from the regular gym, right? Private, upscale, different equipment. The reason I use the Menix equipment is because it doesn't look like anything you will find in a gym. And it throws the client off right like, what's this? Oh my goodness, I've never seen one of these. You're going to love this. This is awesome. You're not going to find this in your regular gym. Now, you're probably asking yourself, so the equipment, is that what doubles your fee? Right? Because everybody's looking for the hard answer. Is it the equipment that doubles your fee? No, not necessarily the equipment. It's a package deal here. So it's like a yes or no question. Equipment and different equipment and specialized equipment is going to add to the overall environment. Okay. But the package deal is in a HIIT studio is private, intimate, upscale, unique equipment, unique workout protocols, and the temperature control, huge. Okay. The time efficiency of the whole package, huge. Okay. People will pay a premium for this. That package will double your income. Did you have to lay out money to put this together? Yeah, but it's an investment. It's an investment that comes back huge. If I told you Tesla's trading at $200 a share right now, and if 10 years ago, if I said, hey, listen, Tesla's at $25 a share. If you buy Tesla stock right now, I'm guaranteeing you it's going to be at $200 a share in 5 years. Would you do it? Sure, you would. Whether it's 1 share or 100 shares, yeah, you're going to buy and put it aside. If you put a HIIT studio together and you spend money on equipment, atmosphere, temperature control, the whole 9 yards, and you look professional and upscale and you dress the part, this investment, the money you spent, will come back tenfold. I guarantee you. It's a great investment. But what's the flip side of that? You put together a private regular gym. Will you do better than a regular trainer? Yeah, you'll do a little bit better. You won't double, triple, and quadruple your fees. There's still hour workouts in a private facility. We can pull off 15-minute workouts and get the same amount of work done and get a better result. Or even if we got the same result, right? Apples to apples. Your hour workout and my 15-minute workout yielded the same exact result in 6 months for the client. My client doesn't have to sweat, change their clothes, and they only need to commit 15 minutes once or twice a week. Your client needed to commit 2 hours, 2 to 3 times a week, had to sweat, was uncomfortable, blah, blah, right?
Got injured.
Yeah, got it right. Possibly got injured. Which one would you pick?
Today's episode is sponsored by Imagine Strength, the game changer in safe, simple, and effective high-intensity training machines. When it comes to HIIT, Imagine Strength is your go-to for intelligently designed, efficient, and affordable equipment. Their team is passionate about HIIT, and it shows in every piece they craft. So why are Imagine Strength the right choice? Number one, they tailor make their equipment for hit studios. Number two, they provide cost-effective solutions for your business. And number three, they are committed to ongoing innovation and refinement. Ready to take your hit business to the next level? Visit imaginestrength.com to discuss your needs and find the perfect gear for your studio. Join the hit revolution of Imagine Strength and transform your workout experience today. And that's a really important point, actually, isn't it? Because a lot of, again, I'm thinking of the people tuning into this who are not necessarily hit trainers. A big appeal to those machines that we just talked about is how safe they are. Almost all of them, in fact, probably all of them, have very low friction and have a small amount of weight travel, which just means it like mitigates the risk, right? They're smoother to use, they're safer, they're really easy to use too. Like a lot of them, you can put anyone on there, like a 95-year-old man who has never trained in his life could still get a great workout in some of these. And you just cannot say that for most of the other equipment and exercise options out there, or many of them anyway.
You could definitely take it to whatever level you want. I personally wanted to look like a doctor's office. You walked into my waiting room in my office building in New York City, and it was identical to going to your physician's office. There was a front counter and a receptionist, and the waiting room looked just like my doctor. Then you walked in and you saw this medical exercise equipment, MedX. I used medical footstools, literally medical stainless steel footstools for the equipment, which non-hit trainers don't know what I'm talking about, but it's not a plastic or a wooden footstool that look cheap next to $10,000 machines, right? We just took it up a level. It was carpeted. The facility was completely 100% carpeted in a commercial grade carpet. Wasn't a rubber floor, wasn't a wood floor. I wanted a certain look. I wanted a certain feel. The carpeting made the acoustics more intimate and private. I had classical music, as we talked about. My facility was 65 degrees, so you wouldn't break a sweat. There was a look and a feel. That leads me up to when everybody wants to hear about and talk about money. Money, my favorite subject. Booking more sessions and making more money. We could talk about nothing else ever, and I'd be perfectly happy. So Lawrence, regular trainers, this is an average in the United States, $25 to $50 an hour for an hour workout, which could be a 45 to 50 minute workout. You always got to leave a little 10-minute buffer zone for yourself for late clients or for, to run to the bathroom before your next client if you're going to be booked. But this is an average. There are more, and I've called around and asked, there are more $25 an hour trainers than $50 an hour trainers.
Crazy.
Okay. Now, are there exceptions to this rule? Yeah. And on both ends. We saw a sign in California years ago, and we took a picture of this sign, $10 per hour for personal training at a commercial gym. They were advertising it as a way to get people in the door. I don't know what quality or level trainers they're getting for $10 an hour. And I don't know what kind of workout, but $10 is $10. It's McDonald's versus your favorite steakhouse, right?
Yeah. And you're probably paying a membership fee on top of that, right?
I would imagine. But either way, this is dollar store versus Gucci, right? Then I've seen the other end. I've seen trainers who charged $100 to $150 for an hour workout. They were kind of celebrity type trainers. They were making big bucks. They weren't booked a lot. I even know one trainer who charged $250 an hour. I knew him personally. Great guy, celebrity trainer, had a couple of celebrities, did not have a big schedule, right, at that price, but he was commanding that per hour. So that's another thing to look overall. What if you were charging $250 an hour and only had 4 clients twice a week? It's not bad money. Yeah, I mean, you literally can make $150,000 a year on that. But if one of them goes away for 3 months to Italy to shoot a film, how much money? You just lost 50 grand. Bam. But right? And when they come back into town and say, "Oh, I'm back. I need my 3 o'clock on Tuesdays." Oh, I filled it in. It's not the greatest thing in the world. I know trainers dream of $250 an hour and being, a celebrity trainer. Not the greatest gig in the world. I turned it down. So
Very
and
surgical market too, right? Like a really small market that's hard to penetrate versus the 30-minute workout, where you're really selling the value of time efficiency, time saving. Obviously, it's infrequent, it's twice a week. The market is so much broader for that. It's so much more of a stronger differentiator for that versus the 1 hour model that most people follow, which obviously
we
you're
could be,
elaborating on.
yeah. In addition to being efficient and attractive, we could be affordable.
Yeah, exactly.
We
Yeah.
can we can hit a broader market. Let's take the $25 an hour business model. Regular trainer, $25 an hour. Maybe they're doing 10 or 20 sessions a week. Hit trainer in a private studio, and even not a high end studio, but a medium studio. Okay, not a big investment. $25 for a 15 or 30-minute workout. You're getting $50 to $100 an hour. That's money. And because they don't sweat or have to change their clothes, you can rotate through clients at a faster rate without rushing them and still be professional and take your time. It's not like it's like a frenzy and you're unorganized and you got to leave and you got to start. Well, we got to go. We're on. No. The workout itself probably takes the better part of 9 minutes. 9. And I blocked 15 minutes for you. We've got a few minutes for, hey, how's the family doing? How you feeling today? And just take a minute, have a sip of water, and we'll get in there and we'll bang this out. It'll be fun. You take the whole energy down a level, not up, not rush. And you look 10 times more professional. So right then on the $25 model, you can see how a HIIT trainer can make 2 to 4 times what a regular trainer makes, just mathematically with the time. And of course, we'll have to break that down later in this broadcast, but we can. Want to know about some real big numbers?
Yeah. I mean, well, maybe you're going to, you're going to elaborate on this. Go on. I can see it. Yeah. Go ahead, Pete.
High-end studios. What if you went in deep? What if you became a really high-end professional HIIT trainer? This was my passion, my goal. I wanted the nicest studio. I wanted the nicest equipment. I wanted to wow my clients when they walked into the door before they even met me. Okay. And I did. So that cost dollars. That was like I said, a 6-figure investment walking in the door before we turned one session. My rates went upwards of, my ultimate rate was $500 an hour, $125 for a 15-minute workout. Now, I never booked 4 per hour. I always, just to be smart, I always booked no more than 3 per hour to leave myself 15 minutes for late clients, a bathroom break, a sip of my coffee, clear my head, right? Because I was knocking out 20 to 24, sometimes even 26 sessions in one day. I was doing in a day what a regular trainer hopes to do in a week, a 6-day week.
You must have just been in like a trance doing that. Because I've done 8, I think the most of that's probably 8 or 9 30-minute sessions back to back. And I felt like I was in the zone. I was in like a trance almost. I mean, but what you experience must be like just, is that, describe that to us. I know it's a quick digression, but like when you were doing 26 15-minute sessions, like, I know you had a 50-minute break. So maybe that took you out of the trance for a moment, but that's a lot.
You know what? I'm going to tell you the honest truth, Lawrence. It was ridiculously easy. You have to be organized. You have to have a plan in place. But once you have that organization and plan in place, just do the math on that. If I took 12 hours and you get 4 blocks per hour, that's 48 possible sessions in a day. I'm only booking 24 of them. They don't always book back to back, right? Somebody calls me up and, hey, Pete, can you squeeze me in at 3:15? Yep. I'm not necessarily getting a phone call for 3:30. The next one may be 4 o'clock. So I've got 48 opportunities to get 24 sessions in. That's a lot of break time. It's really, really easy. So Even if the schedule gets jammed, right? Because at 5 p.m., we're going to get a little jammed up, right? It's going to be 5:15, 5:30. Oh my God, I'm late. My reading, no problem. I got 5:45 open for you. Just have a seat in the waiting room, watch TV for a little bit. I'll grab you. You're not going to miss it. 6:15, 6:30 canceled. And then at 7 o'clock, it starts to fall off a bit and I got more breaks. Obviously from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, I wasn't busy. Maybe I didn't have anything booked from 2 to 4, maybe only one 15-minute session in a 2-hour period. Well, how easy is that? I got time to play a game on my phone, go for a walk, sit outside, grab a bite to eat, call my wife. A lot of time there, right? Here's another thing I want to point out, and this is how it worked for me. But you might be able to identify with this. Think about your morning routine. You wake up, first thing you do is use the bathroom. Second thing you may do is make the bed. Then you brush your teeth.
I don't know. That's not how it goes, Pete, for me. You know how it goes for me. I might get the opportunity to use the toilet, but more often than not, I'm just shouted at by my 2-year-old who just tells me what to do for an hour. That's what happens.
My kids I'm an empty nester. You wish you were me. So, okay. So let's talk about the average normal person who's not getting yelled at by a 2-year-old.
She's the boss. She's the boss,
right?
Pete.
You walk over to your coffee machine, you press a button. None of this requires thought. The first 10 things you do in the morning don't require any thought. It's your routine, right? You just boom, 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 boom. Eventually, you can get your HIIT workout schedule to operate like this. I'm not thinking and obsessing over it. Once you get it organized and going, you just do it. Just like brushing your teeth and making your coffee and getting dressed and walking out the door. It really is just part of your routine. You get in there and you look at the schedule. Okay, here's what I got today. I got 22 on the books for today. 22 could turn into 24, 26. It could drop down to 18 with some cancellations. I'm getting paid, so I don't care. No problem. Get my workout charts out, ready to go.
People are going to might ask a question about that. So the reason you get paid is because unless you're given a certain amount of notice, they're still going to pay for that mid-session. That's part of your racing policies, which we're coming on to in a later podcast, aren't we?
Yep, 24-hour cancellation policy. And now with technology, text messages and emails, they're time-stamped. Where 20 years ago, it had to be maybe a voicemail, and the client can argue, no, I gave you 25 hours notice. I left you a message. I thought it wasn't. There's a whole debate, right? And a problem. Now it's time-stamped, plain and simple. Bang. Here's your text message 2 hours before you can't make it. I had to charge you. I'm sorry. But yeah, that's another thing HIIT traders do. Rates and policies. We're more organized and we're tougher about it. We make more money on that alone, on the cancellation policy. Because again, I don't want anybody to have an excuse to skip it, quit, cancel. I removed all those. It's 15 minutes. You don't have to sweat and change your clothes. What's the problem? Right? Now, if it's an hour what if your client calls you up and says, listen, I'm sitting in traffic right now. There's a car broke down. We haven't moved in 10 minutes. I'm going to be 30 minutes late. Now there's all this pressure. Okay. Well, obviously I can't make it. You're going to have to give me another spot today or tomorrow. What do you want to do? You're losing money. You're losing time and well, the client's driving all this way to you. You're going to have to bend over backwards for it. In a HIIT business model, it's 15 minutes. If you're 45 minutes late, have a seat in the waiting room. I'll get you in. We'll bang it out. I'll buy my 15-minute break is yours. You're going to get it. Don't just show up. That's what I said anyway. There's no excuse. Just show up. Unless you're running 104-degree fever or higher, there's no cancel. If you're bleeding profusely, show up. We'll bandage it. We'll knock out his sagging. I'm a no excuse trainer, and I teach that. I want you to be that doesn't mean, and Lawrence, you and I have talked about this a little bit. That doesn't mean you're a hard ass and you're obnoxious and you're arrogant. It's quite the opposite. You're thoughtful, you're caring. You want them to get this in because you know the health benefits of it. It's like medicine. The more you get of this medicine, the better you will feel. That's why I'm being really hard on you and I want you to get in the door, because every time my client's I'm so glad I came in.
Yeah.
Thank you. I feel better. My stress is, thank you. I'll see you in a couple of days. Yep. You're good. So they gotta kind of be a bit of a hard ass, but you're doing it in a loving, thoughtful way. Believe me. And I believe this. This comes from my heart. This is good medicine. I trained my mom, my dad, my sons, my wife. I give them this medicine because I believe in it. It's really good for you. I wouldn't take my mom and dad to a CrossFit CrossFit session. There's nothing wrong with CrossFit. I just don't see my 78-year-old mother doing chip-ups, it's not going to happen. But could she do a leg press under a slow, controlled, high intensity protocol? Yeah. Yes. Will she benefit from that at 78 years old and a heart issue? Yes, she will. It's the same for her. Yes, it is. Well, that alone broadened my spectrum. I've got the opportunity to train thousands of people now versus you need to work out with me. You got to be able to do 5 chin-ups, full chin-ups on your own or more. You just limited your market to 14 people. It's just, I want the money. I want the opportunity. I want the sessions. And I want to deliver an awesome product that when I go to bed at night, I think I did a great service today. So
Absolutely.
money, $500 an hour is the upper limit that I've seen. I don't know of anybody who's charged more. There is a possibility, but I don't know them. So me at $125 for 15 minutes, booking an average of 2 to 3 per hour. It was a $500 an hour rate because of the 15-minute blocks. That I believe is the upper limit. Again, a possible exception out there that I don't know about. $50 an hour is, I think, the low end minimum. So if you're a $25 an hour trainer, if you convert over to a HIIT style of training, you're at $25 for a 30-minute session and you're going to book 2 of them an hour, and you'll be able to sell that to your clients. You will be able to talk to, even without equipment change in a private studio, you will be able to mathematically talk them into it. We're going to get into that.
Yeah. I think to your point there about anyone doing more than 500 an hour, they're either in Dubai, and if they are, they're working with, celebrities and very, very high net worth individuals, and they've, that's their shtick. So I think there probably are those people out there, but like I say, they're serving that, that market. So
yeah. And again, that's a tough market.
Yeah, very much so.
If you're training a billionaire sheik, they are not referring people to you. They want you exclusively for the 3 or 4 times a week. They're going to pay you $500 for an hour workout, right?
I was listening. Sorry, Pete. Go ahead. I cut you off.
No, that was my point.
Yeah. I was listening to a really good podcast recently, actually. It was Lex Friedman interviewed Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, right? And Jeff Bezos doesn't do any long form podcasts. So it was really, when it came out, it was a big deal because it was really interesting to listen to him for like a good couple of hours. And he has a personal trainer, I believe, who comes to his house, probably stays in one of his, annexes or houses on his land. I don't know. And all I could think of is how much does he pay this guy? That was really, because he does daily workouts and obviously a variety of different types of things in the mornings. And I just kept thinking to myself, how much? Because like you say, if you're working for someone like that, then they want you exclusively. You're their full-time trainer. So you've got to make that work financially, right? But then again, he's probably not struggling.
It's a horrible situation. And I told you I turned it down. I'm going to give you a specific story and I'll even mention names. Okay.
Oh, okay.
In the 90s, I worked in a gym, and I've mentioned this on your podcast before. I worked out in a gym called Prescriptive Fitness. Prescriptive Fitness was a second floor commercial gym. Anybody can join the gym for their monthly membership. Anybody. They allowed personal trainers to do their thing there they didn't bother us for money or fees as long as you paid your membership. The gym was co-owned by Dana Carvey, the comedian from Saturday Night Live. That was his claim to fame back then. In the gym on a daily basis, every day you see the cast of Saturday Night Live. I used to see Chris Farley, Adam Sandler, David Spade, Kevin Nealon, who is incredibly tall. I can't remember the other guy's name, was incredibly short. It'll come to me. Anyway, Michael Douglas, Iman, David Bowie. Can I keep going? I mean, the New York Knicks, 7-foot monsters walking around. I mean, like, holy cow, it was a who's who. Now, I had the opportunity to start working with these people. I turned every one of them down. What I did is I used it as a marketing tool. I would have my regular clients come in and get wowed by the atmosphere. Like, oh my God, is that Adam Sandler? Yeah, just be cool. Come on, we're going to go do the leg press. You know, like, it wound up being a really cool, I used it that way. Now, one day, occasionally a celebrity would come approach me because my training was a little bit different. My high intensity workouts were a little bit different and they would get noticed. A celebrity would approach me when I'm on a break and say, hey, listen, I saw you working out and I trained your client over there and looked pretty cool. You think we could try it out sometime? Because I identify with, I know who they are, right? Listen, I'm so sorry. My schedule's full right now. I would be honored to work with you, obviously. But I would want to devote the proper amount of time, and I just don't have it right now. But thank you so much for asking.
How would they react to that? But they wouldn't always react well to that, right? So used to getting what they want.
I had to put away that I was kissing ass and making it about them. Like, you probably require that, and I was really. It was tough. It was tough to sound like a kiss ass for me. And polite. I did not want to be on. I didn't want. No, I don't do celebrities. I don't want to give them that. It was, I would say, by the way, I loved your work and oh my God. And I would turn into a fan for a second, and that would kind of back them off, shaking their hand. And, that last movie you did was unbelievable. Oh my God. How'd you know what you need? You need the 90-minute sessions that end off with stretching and massage and stuff like that. I know a trainer, it's not what I do, but I would do that. Anyway, I was approached one time by Iman and David Bowie. Iman came into the gym and she was kind of, looking for a trainer, and she went to the front desk and, who do you recommend? And they said, this guy Pete does something really unique. I think you might dig it. And she watched for a little while and would you go over and talk to him for me? And I said, I am so flattered. I am so flattered. And at this point, I have turned a few celebrities down, and it was never comfortable or easy for me, but I did it, right? As politely as possible. In this case, I felt like I needed to give something. So I said, I would be honored and flattered. I just don't have the time that I would need to devote to you. I said, however, would you allow me to find a trainer for you? Yes, I would appreciate that. Would be so wonderful. Give me a day. A friend of mine, Paul, excellent trainer, great guy, in great shape, came running up to me and said, you're going to be working with Iman and David Bowie? I said, no. I said, no, I don't have the time in my schedule. And I didn't come off like a big shot to the trainers, right? It's just not going to work out. Would you set me up? I said, listen to me. I said, Paul, you're a good friend. We like each other, right? I'm going to tell you something. These gigs are not what you think they are. The fee is great. What do you want to charge? I know you charge $50, $60, $70 an hour now. You want to charge $150? You can. Okay. But it's never an hour. It usually spills over to night. They want more time. The schedule is not going to be easy. You may have to cancel somebody to fit them in. Like, it's not easy. No. I want it. Like, he was really like all over me for it. I'm like, you got it, but I want you to remember this conversation. I swear to God, Pete, I love you for this. I made the introduction. He got Iman and David Bowie as the client. Then he starts working with him. He started charging him, I think, $150 an hour. Sure as shit. These sessions were like 90 minutes. There was never, you don't say, okay, Iman, time's up. Like, she tells you when you're done, right?
Oh,
He
so
didn't have a
funny.
problem with that because he's not book solid. He's making 150. It's like 3 clients in one session for him, right? So he's still thrilled. 3, 4 weeks later, he comes running into the gym. He spots me. I'm in the middle of a session. He spots me from across the gym. He comes running up to me. He bear hugs me, right? And I'm like, "Fuck." I'm in the middle of something here. Like, what's going on? He goes, "I can't thank you enough." Now he's talking to my client. He goes, "This guy, I love this guy. He's the best guy in the world. You have no idea what he just did for me." And my client, "What did he do for you?" "Well, he set me up with Amon and David Bowie. They are going to their house in the Bahamas for 3 weeks and they're taking me with them." Oh my God. Because I'm their trainer. I'm their, like he's saying this nice and loud and proud, right? And he is over the moon happy that he's going to get this paid for 3-week vacation and be a celebrity trainer, right? I'm like, "Paul, are you happy? I'm happy." I'm like, then you owe me nothing. I was happy to do it for you. If you're happy, I'm happy. And I want the best for you. Enjoy. 4 weeks later, walks into the gym. He spots me from across the room. He's got this look on his face. Not happy.
All right.
I take a break. I go over. I go, "What happened?" "Well, you know how we went to the Bahamas? Yeah. They got a private house? Yeah. Well, basically what happened is I'm the trainer." "Yeah." "Which is kind of like the maid, servant, driver, dishwasher." "Yeah. Yeah. Paid well." "Yep." He goes, "What happened was we would do a workout whenever the mood hit them. Could be 8 o'clock in the morning, could be 10 o'clock in the morning, could be noon, could be 2 o'clock. Like you were on call for 24 hours. So maybe I'm laying by the pool or having my breakfast, but then if I got a message, 'Hey, workout time,' boom, I had to stop what I was doing to jump. Oh, well, okay, that's part of the job. Then at some point, listen, we're going to run into town and we're going to go eat at this restaurant. Would you mind watching the kids?
Oh, no.
We'll be back later in the day." Maybe he was showing some of those exercises or something, right? I'm like, "Man, I told you, that's the way it goes. Celebrity sessions are not what you think they are. Like you may get $150 for an hour, but it's never an hour. This may spill over. Now it's 5 hours of your time if you're babysitting, right?" Anyway, he's got this long face on. I said, "I told you." He said, "You told me." I'm like, "Okay, just make the best of it. Try to tighten up your policies a little bit. You may lose them as a client, but you'll look better as a trainer."
Hmm.
That's my story. Celebrity training is not all it's cracked up to be. I want to help somebody who needs help and wants it and appreciates it.
Appreciate it. Pete, interesting stuff. Great story. Let's push on to the next bit here.
The clients have a problem with a
Right.
30-minute session or less. They don't. They're happy to pay for it. Why? You're saving them time. So saving time or efficiency, people will pay a premium for that. Private and upscale, they will pay a premium for that. Unique and intellectual workout programs, very intelligent workout program, they will pay a premium for that. Exceptional service. These two words are the whole program. Above and beyond, and this is for veteran trainers as well as new trainers, hit trainers. Above and beyond the private studio, the atmosphere, the temperature, the equipment, the protocols, right? Above all of that, the service. The exceptional service is what's giving you the fee and booking you solid. You can have all of these features. I can hand you $100,000 in equipment and I'll pay your rent in this $10,000 a month studio that's absolutely phenomenal in an awesome location. And I'm going to turn the temperature to 65 degrees. Don't worry, there won't be an electric bill. I'll take care of that for you. Right? And here's a couple of workouts I wrote out for you. This is what you're going to do. Just follow that. And you could fail miserably if you don't know how to give exceptional service. Customer service is the business.
Do you want to just, I know we talked about that on a previous podcast, but it's one of those things that just needs repeating. Like if you had to break it down like 3 pillars for exceptional customer service, which frankly is almost everything, if not everything in this business, What would you, just so people understand listening, like, okay, how do I deliver exceptional service? What is great exceptional customer service?
First and foremost, dress code. I bet you didn't see that one coming. So I'm not dressed. I'm not dressed for a personal training session in my studio. I would wear a warm up jacket like this, long sleeve warm up jacket. I would have my studio name stitched tastefully like a doctor's smock, right? Lab coat. I would have my studio name, 90-Second Fitness was my studio, stitched right here across and nothing else. No massive logo on the back, nothing stupid like that. I would be in a button down shirt, sometimes a tie, most of the time not a tie, but a button down shirt, a very expensive button down shirt. I would be wearing black slacks always, with a very nice black belt, black shoes, upscale black shoes, dress shoes. I would be dressed as if I could sit in on your CEO meeting at your law office. All I had to do is cinch up my tie and I'm ready to go. Or maybe switch this out for a sport coat. Okay. That's how I look. So when you walk in the door, the first thing you see is me standing there with a clipboard and a stopwatch. I'm not rushing you. Okay. That's service also. Panicked and frazzled isn't good customer service. It means you don't know what the hell you're doing, right? You walk in the door, you see me there to greet you politely and professionally and take you in for the work. Do you need a few minutes? Not a problem. Like going into a high-end restaurant. You go into a diner, you're going to get one type of waiter or waitress. You go into a really high-end $1,000 a meal restaurant, they're going to be wearing tuxedos and there's white linen on the tablecloth and maybe even white glove service. I mean, awesome, right? High end. So you walk in, dress code. That's step one. Customer service has a lot to do with how you deliver a set. And I can't emphasize this enough. I was coaching a group of trainers last night in a wonderful private studio. And I told them, you can't stop talking. You have to talk about the set, not in a dribbling on, babbling way, in an intelligent, instructional way. So delivering a set intelligently is really great customer service. You can't stand there with your arms folded and count the reps and occasionally blurt out, don't forget to breathe. That's not customer service. That's you're not invested. You're not engaged. You're not a part of this set. I'm in the set with a client. It could be a push-up. I'm going to be eye level with the client. We're down on the floor. I'm going to be an appropriate distance away, not too close, not too far. I'm going to adjust the volume of my voice. I'm not going to raise it up. If this is not an exciting set for 58 reps where I'm going to be counting out loud, this is going to be, I want you to move slower and more methodical. And I'm going to bring my volume down to bring them down a level. I want this to be, you know what? This has been described to me as Tai Chi with weights. You know, those slow, smooth, fluid movements, but we're going to do this with some resistance. Or another person described this to me as yoga with weights. Okay. So you don't picture AC/DC playing in a yoga studio, right? You bring it down a level. Okay. Now listen to me. We are going to start this set. You have 100 pounds on this machine. I want you to put 100 pounds of pressure on 100 pounds, which means it won't move, but you're applying pressure. Now, you have pressure. Are you loading up? Great. On the next exhale, I want you to apply 101 pounds of pressure and the weight will break forward. That's the speed we're going to stay at. We're going to work all the way through this movement. Occasionally, we're going to stop and hold. That's instruction. I don't stop. I talk like that through the entire set. When the set is over, excellent job. Here's what you did last week. Here's what you just did. Okay. Here's what I think we'll do next week if you're up for it. If you come in and say, you know what, I'm not feeling well, I didn't sleep well, we'll make a change. So I reviewed. Wow, that's great customer service too. The facility, the tool, the equipment, the facility, the temperature, those are tools for me to deliver exceptional customer service. And a beautiful water bottle, you know, the water bottle setups with, I bought the 5-gallon bottles of water. That looks a little more high end than the fountain, right, of tap water. This was the nice high end water. Yeah, did it cost money? Sure. When I had high end clients. Not you didn't have to be a billionaire to work out with me. You didn't have, you could have a regular job and still afford me. I'm still more affordable than a regular session when you break down the math. But I wanted them to experience a high-end studio. So then the customer service is where it's at. I can't emphasize. And then in our coaching, when I'm out there coaching veteran trainers who have taken a hit from COVID and need to build their business back up, when I work with new trainers who say, and there's a lady who I started with a couple of weeks ago, who's doing very, very well now. And she said, I just moved to this area. I'm certified, but I never started professionally training. How do I do it? It's the same. We talk about customer service, not, you need $100,000 in a private studio. No, you could do this in an empty room with a rubber band. I'll show you how to do it. The customer service, you could still dress nicer, right? You're not doing the workout with them, and we don't sweat during the workout anyway. So why should you be wearing a clown outfit? Dress nicely, dress like your doctor or your lawyer. Imagine if you went into your doctor's office. I love talking about this, Lawrence. It's just, and I say it so many times. Imagine walking into your doctor's office, okay? And you undress and you put one of those gowns on and you're sitting on the exam table, which is what you always, right? You filled out this intake form and, right, you sit and that lady comes in and she takes your blood pressure and looks at, the temperature. Okay, good. Doctor will be in a minute. Door opens up. There's your doctor, male or female, doesn't matter. They're wearing flip-flops, pair of shorts, a surfer's t-shirt, and a hoodie. Hood's up. They walk in, have a seat on that little stool with wheels on it. They wheel up to you. Hey, Lawrence. How you feeling today? Lay it on me. You all right? You're like, get me the hell out of here. I had a couple of ailments, but you're not talking about it with me. Like you're gone. Vapor trail. Doctor walks.
It could be. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, the doctor's going to walk into the either surgical scrubs. Sorry, I stumbled on that one. Or they're dressed in a professional garb like we are, right? Slacks, blouse, or a button-down shirt. The sleeves are not rolled up, even in the button-down shirt. Then the lab coat. Why do they need a lab coat? Are they actually performing tests? It's professionalism. It takes your stress level down 10 notches. The doctor walks in dressed like that. You haven't even spoken to them yet. You already feel a little bit better because you have a professional delivering good customer service immediately. Yes.
Yeah. It's the dress is such a big thing. I agree. It's something that I think some clients might not even mention it. You might not get kind of like outward experiences where people recognize it and say, oh well, you look great, or so it's very kind of like implicit. It's very sort of like, it's just they clock it, they see it. Okay, this place is different, this person's dressed different than what I'm used to in terms of personal training, and immediately it sets you apart. But what I realized is no one would ever say anything. I had a conversation with a friend who became a client, and we're pretty good friends who were having a conversation over lunch, and I talked about how, the vision that I had for Optima and what we were doing in terms of like how we were dressing and the aesthetic and everything. And he said, oh yeah, I totally registered that straight away. The way you were dressed, I was like, oh, okay, this is different. This is serious, and I was dressed like, not actually as smart as you would, similar, like, trousers or slacks, and then like a very smart, like polo, but like a fitted, like, nice, look. And it makes a huge difference. Just want to underscore that, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Dress code is huge. Now, a very good friend of ours, you and I, Kevin, he and his trainers are now wearing a uniform. They're wearing black slacks or black pants of some sort, but he bought them all very nice tops, with the studio logo on it, which is also very tastefully done. It's not a logo with a gorilla flexing. It's this royal looking, beautiful logo that I really admire. But it's part of the clients walk in. I said, did anybody notice? Yes. Everybody picked up on it, right? We're all dressed professionally and differently. And yeah, it got their attention. They stood up a little, okay, what are we doing today? It elevates your game. Hitch trainers are known for this. Hitch trainers deliver better customer service overall. Customer service makes us a lot of money, bags of it. Okay. These other tools are merely tools. They make your job easier. So can you do it in an empty room? Can you do it with plate load hammer strength equipment? The answer is yes. I did it until I was booking so many sessions that I couldn't physically load and unload the hammer strength leg press with 600 pounds 20 times a day. I couldn't close my forearms wanted to give out. I couldn't close my fingers by the end of the week. Oh, I'm making $4,000 a week at this point. You know what I need? I need one of those plate load Med-X leg presses where I just put the pin in.
Selectorized. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was just a natural upgrade. But I was already booking 80 sessions on the hammer strength leg press. So yes, it can be done. The tools are not only for the client, they are for the trainer. You need to be more efficient. You need to be organized and efficient. You have to have this program in your head that you could do without thinking, like making your cup of coffee in the morning. You press the button, you put the cup under there, you wait a few seconds, it drips out. You add your cream and sugar and you got your, if I ask you an hour later, Lawrence, do you remember making your coffee this morning? You're like, no, but I drank it. So I must have, what color was that traffic light that you just went through? Oh, geez, I don't remember. It was green. It was green, but you just automatically.
It's like you're an autopilot. You're like, what is it? Conscious competence, right? You got to that place where you can deliver these workouts without expending too much energy so that it's more sustainable and high quality. Yeah.
And when you do it at the end of the night, and this is my favorite time of day, 10 o'clock at night, trainers are gone, studio's quiet, no more clients. I'm sitting there, I'm doing my billing. This is who we're charging today for the next block of sessions. I'm doing my routine, and you find out how much money you actually generated that day. And that number, holy cow, is more than some people make in a month, one day. Mm-hmm. Right? No kidding. Take a low-end hour trainer versus me banging out my 24 on a 24 session day. And my trainers this one had 12, this one had 16, and a lot of sessions that day. One day, this is Monday. Oh my God. You do the billing. And I was telling one of our coaches, I'm like, you're going to love doing the billing at night. It's like, holy cow. I made my week's worth or month's worth of money just now.
Yeah. You mean clients? You said coaches.
Yeah. Well, one of the coaches that we work with.
Oh, sorry. Trainers. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you do the math, obviously, when you're at your peak. And I know that you don't necessarily advocate doing 15-minute sessions in an hour. You're more a fan for most people, like, two 15-minute or 2 half-hour sessions with 50-minute workouts in each. But at your peak, you were doing $3,000 a day, right? 24 sessions, $125 per session. So yeah, it's a significant income.
Me, I was doing that.
Yeah.
My trainers doing that. And I had income from my trainers too. Yeah, and I did not count, but that was just me. Yeah. So yes, $3,000 a day, no problem. Bang.
Not bad.
That's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's good stuff.
So
I get questioned a lot. Has anybody ever challenged me on this? Clients like, oh, it's only 15 minutes. Yeah. It's only 30 minutes. Now, guys, I want you to be sure to know that my basic business model for many years was 30-minute sessions, it was still a 9-minute workout. Okay. But I took 30 minutes for scheduling. So I would book 2 per hour and they would be back to back and my schedule would be fairly full. So in a 12-hour day, it took me 12 hours to do 24 sessions. I would work 14 hours to make sure I had 4 breaks in there somewhere. Okay. And then I always hoped for a cancellation. So I didn't lose my mind and it didn't wear down my body. But has anybody ever challenged me on that? Yes, in the beginning. So when I went from hour sessions to half-hour sessions and my new high-intensity protocols and workouts, how did I present that to my client? Easy, simple math. So I sit the client down and say, let's just talk about this for a second. So I'm going to charge you the same. You would pay me $50 for your hour session. I'm now going to charge you $50 for a 30-minute session, and the workout's not going to take 30 minutes. But follow me on the math. The average workout is 3 sets of 12 on about a dozen exercises in the gym. Okay. Now it takes time to walk from one machine to the other. When we do the 3 sets, we put the weight down and we talk for, a minute, do another set. So 3 sets of 12. Based on that business model, let's break it down and find out what it really is. Okay. The average set of 12 repetitions in regular form, controlled medium form, right, takes approximately 15 seconds. Take my word on that. Okay. Can it be slower or faster? Of course. But the average set of 12 reps takes about 15 seconds. 3 of those sets is 45 seconds worth of work. We're not calculating the rest times and the chit chat, right? We're also not calculating or adding in the time to go to the next machine. 45 seconds worth of work on a dozen machines is 540 seconds. Divided by 60, 9 minutes. What the heck are we doing for the other 51 minutes? So what if I told you that we will do the equivalent of 6 sets, 6 of your regular sets in one? That we are going to do the equivalent of 30 or 40 regular sets in 6 or 7 exercises. I'm saving you a lot of time. You're getting actually twice the amount of quality work in. Are you interested in that? What if I told you you don't have to sweat now? What if I told you you don't have to change your clothes? You can come in dressed for a meeting at work and we can bang this out. Are you interested in that? This is an intelligent program. If you don't like it, if the client didn't like the 15-minute workout or my math, I would say to them, I'll give you your hour workout. Or if you let me give you a high intensity workout, and at the end of the session, you say, that wasn't enough. Because my original routines were 4 exercises, not 5, not 6, not 3, 4. 4 exercises. Do you want to know the 4? Low back, leg press, pull down, chest press. 4 exercises. I did them in an aggressive, high intensity fashion, not super slow, not slow reps of any kind. They were aggressive reps, 8 to 12 reps to failure. Sometimes I'd throw in a forced rep, a forced negative, any of the high intensity protocols. I was doing this to make a point that you didn't need to work out for an hour 3 times or 6 times a week. They did 15 minutes will kick your butt. And when I did these workouts, when I presented them to my clients, I said, listen, I want you to try this workout. If at the end of the workout, you feel like this isn't enough, not enough stimulation, not enough workout, I'll give you a double session, triple session. I'll add 10 more, whatever you want. Nobody ever asked. By the 4th exercise, they were like ready to fall on the floor. I can adjust the workout as to how they were feeling. So we can go through low back, leg press, and I'm sizing them up. We get over to the pull down. They don't look too fatigued. Okay, we're going crazy on this one. So it's going to be reps to failure, negative, static. Now they're falling off the pull down. Hey, we got the chest press. Come on, we got one more exercise. Let's go. I'm picking them up and putting them in the machine. Same deal. This is going to go beyond failure. Is this healthy? No. Is it safe? Probably not.
I'd say it's safe. It's just probably not as productive.
Not productive. Lou Abato and I used to joke about, we should do chalk lines of all our clients, because literally a client would be on the floor, right?
Yeah.
Let's do a chalk line.
Was it Robat run over by a truck? Sorry, I interrupted. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it looked like they're dead bodies, like a homicide. It was just, we have bodies strewn about. Obviously, this was not a good business model, but it got my reputation out there as there's a trainer in an interview I did in California. It was a wonderful interview. And this other trainer was saying, we all heard about you. There was this guy doing 15-minute workouts and he's killing his clients and they're loving it. And we were all like, is it true? And I found out it was you. And I came over to check it out. And I remember this trainer and I remember him checking it out. And 20 years later, we're doing this interview together. He's telling me this story, which I didn't know, but it was to make a point. High intensity works and you don't need to spend a lot of time on it. So here's where we are. You have all that information. You could do this.
Yeah. Great point. This is a common one, isn't it? Dealing with the price objection, even for those who have been running hit businesses for a while, they still get that. Oh, but how I don't get as much time, and it's trying to get it across to the client that, yeah, just like you've explained, like how much of that time is wasted in a typical personal training session in terms of a lack of time under tension. So how much time is actually the muscle under tension during that, as you articulately put? How much of that is small talk? Right? Coffee talk. How much of that is, frankly, just exercises completely ineffective or somewhat redundant? And I know this is probably a bit controversial and there's a bit of debate about, whether there's value in having a warm up or cool down. A lot of people in HIIT will say the first set is a warm up, right? If you're doing it slowly, you're warming up the muscle. Some of our colleagues might still feel the cool down is appropriate. Some don't. Personally, I probably wouldn't have it in the model. So there's a lot of elements, and there's other things that I just, stretching, for example, is a good example. We know that stretching before strength training is not a good idea typically, and that you will get a good stretch when you actually perform full range of motion strength training anyway. So there's some obviously nuance to what I'm saying, but I guess this is how you clearly make it different and it can justify it. I just want to say as well for, so sorry, just to, I guess, put a bow on that, it's really about saving them time and giving them a very safe and effective workout. And then when you throw in the fact that the intensity is going to be so much higher in a safe way, which means the frequency is lower, it's just a really powerful justification. And I think also just to address the point that I'm thinking of things that might be coming up in the minds of those who are listening to this, who are not currently HIIT trainers, who will probably challenge the fact that is this even effective? And it's like, well, obviously we would argue that if you pore over the literature when it comes to resistance exercise, you will find that for all the adaptations that your clients want in terms of more muscle mass, strength, all the health benefits, it's pretty clear now that it's easily achieved within sort of 60 minutes of strength training per week. And that's probably, obviously that's not entirely accurate. Like that's not necessarily 60 minutes of time under tension. Again, there's nuance to this, but yeah, like working out twice a week in this fashion is probably going to optimize a lot of the outcomes your clients want. And that's evidence-based. So, and it's also, I just want to make sure I try and cover every question that might come up for people, or as many as I can think of right now. One of those might be, well, yeah, 4 compound movements. Is that going to suffice? It's like, well, Pete, all those movements he mentioned, leg press, chest press, they're going to be recruiting all of the major muscles, pretty much most of the muscles in the body. You might be excluding, maybe the neck extensors, maybe some other small muscle groups might not be getting as effectively recruited. And there's certainly a time and a place for single joint movements for maybe more recruitment, but you're going to get 80-90% of the results just from doing those movements. And again, that's a very evidence-based statement. So again, I think if people listening is thinking that's not enough, that's not, you've got to do way more volume or whatever, it's like, no, I think if you're not looking at influencers, but you're actually looking at the scientific literature, you'll find that this is very aligned with that. So I just want to say to support what you're saying.
Let's go past the scientific. I made 2 notes, by the way, and we could talk about this today or another podcast, but warm up, you mentioned warm ups. I forgot to mention warm ups. I want everybody to know, I never, ever, ever did a warm up set or exercise in my life, in my career. And if you were doing 402 pounds on the Menex chest press, that's what we went to. There was no 200-pound, 12 rep warm up. We went to 402 straight out. If you were doing 600, 700, 800 pounds on the Menex leg press, that's what we got. We went right into that. Never, ever did a warm up. Is it effective? This comes down to something. Let's go past science and go to reputation. Okay. New York City, Midtown Manhattan. You're going to get a reputation of a winner or a loser, successful or not successful. And once that reputation gets out there, you're sealed in it. Changing it's going to be very difficult. So when this big mouth guy starts telling everybody, your 1 hour workouts suck. I mean, I have to make a point, right? Yeah, so I'm brash and I'm in there for your work. They're inefficient. They're lousy. I need 4 exercises and you're done for the week. Okay. Put up or shut up time. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Is the person says, that Pete Cerqua, what a joke. I walked out of there. I didn't feel anything. I didn't, everything he said didn't happen. One person says it, word gets around, nobody's booking with me. No, that's a scam. That's a scam. 4 exercises. You need at least 12 exercises. You need at least 3 hours a week. That's what all the doctors will tell you, right? Back then. So, 1 hour of walking a day and this many and then Pete said nonsense, right?
Yeah.
Never once. My reputation only skyrocketed. I had a waiting list. I'm doing 120, 130, 134, I think is my record sessions in a week. You can't, and high level clients that had followings, right? So people in the publishing business, people, doctors, lawyers, people that had networks. So if you pissed off one of them or you didn't deliver with one of them, they could easily tell 300 people, yeah, I tried that. It wasn't for me. That's a polite way of saying it sucked, right? Never once did it happen. By the way, in my 30-year career, we estimated that I've done over 150,000 sessions. Multiply that by 6 or 8 and you know how many sets I did. Holy cow. You can't argue with the number. Forget about science. Forget about evidence-based, right? A scientist or researcher will take 32 untrained individuals for 6 weeks and they'll get some very, very good information. And I appreciate all these. Why do I appreciate them? They're supporting what I've been telling people for 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
You're just getting around on some of this stuff. Okay. But 150,000 sessions over 30, how do you argue with that? I delivered.
Yeah. True meritocracy. Yeah. Well, at least it was back then. So that was awesome, Pete. Longest podcast ever. Hopefully in the post edit, we smoothed out all our little disconnections that we had during this, but apologies if there were some of those and they affected some of the listening or watching experience. Although I'm sure Andre always does a wonderful job of making those seamless. So that's great. Pete, people can find out more about you. Pete Cerqua on Facebook, Cerqua is the last name spelling. And obviously, if people want to find out more about your services and they want you to help them grow their high intensity training business, they can go to highintensitybusiness.com/coaching to find out all about that. Or simply just email me, lawrence@highintensitybusiness.com, and we can share the details of that with you. Pete, anything else you want to say to wrap this one up, or have you said it all? I mean, this is definitely one of our longer episodes.
I apologize for that. For those listening, we had an internet connection problem where it kicked me out of the program 3 times. And I apologize if it seems choppy. Lawrence and I were doing the best we could to piece this back together. So I'm sorry for that. I love talking about this. It's a product I believe in. It's an excellent product. It's a successful product. It comes down to 2 words: customer service. And I want veteran trainers as well as people considering getting involved in the HIIT business to just embrace those 2 words. And here's how you go about doing it. It's really that simple. And you can make as much money as you can. I mean, just write down a number that you dream about. It can happen. It did for me. And I know it can for you. So I really would encourage people to embrace this.
Right. Thank you, Pete. And for everyone listening or watching, to get the show notes for this episode, please go to highintensitybusiness.com, search episode 456. And until next time, thank you as always very much for listening. This episode is brought to you by Imagine Strength, your go-to for safe, simple, and effective high-intensity training equipment. Growing a successful high-intensity training business requires workout equipment that's not only high quality, but also intelligently designed to fit the unique needs of your studio. And that's where Imagine Strength comes in. Drawing on the wisdom of the legendary Arthur Jones, Imagine Strength has crafted a groundbreaking line of fitness equipment that's as affordable as it is efficient, giving your studio the upgrade it needs without breaking the bank. The team at Imagine Strength breathes HIIT. Their passion for high-intensity training shines through in their designs, which they've consistently refined and innovated for optimum effectiveness and user experience. From my personal experience at Rec, I can attest to the careful consideration and craftsmanship that goes into every single piece. My Imagine Strength workout was absolutely brutal, in a good way, of course. Now, what makes Imagine Strength truly stand out? They have innovative equipment tailored for the unique needs of HIIT studios, affordable and efficient designs, lowering the barriers to entry for a HIIT business, continuous innovation and refinement ensuring your studio stays ahead of the curve. Founder Jeff Turner and his team are dedicated to moving the HIIT industry forward and making strength training accessible to more people than ever before. Here's how you get started. Number 1, visit imaginestrength.com. Number 2, discuss your specific needs with the team. And number 3, select the equipment that will propel your business to the next level. Head to imaginestrength.com today and give your HIIT business the Imagine Strength edge. Be part of the HIIT revolution and see firsthand how their unique equipment can transform your studio's workout experience. Elevate your HIIT business with Imagine Strength.
Let's go.